Right guys, hello and welcome. We've got another Tuesday workout video for you today. The plan for the Tuesday workout is a 35-minute EMOM. So it's 7 rounds through what's on the board here, and you've got 5 stations within each round. Looking at the individual exercise in there, in the first minute, you're going to be doing 12 to 20 single arm overhead lunges. Now bear in mind for the lunges and for the rows, those reps at each arm, so you're looking at 6 to 10 each side for each of them. You've then got 12 to 20 tuck-ups, 12 to 20 burpees, mentioned before these 12 to 20 or 6 to 10 on each side. And then in the 5th minute, you've got a 30-second handstand hold or front leaning rest or something somewhere in between. Something to bear in mind just with the way it's set up, because it's every minute on the minute and you've got a minute to do each section, we want to make sure that either you work at a pace or you've scaled the workout in such a way that you're finishing each section probably by 45 seconds. So particularly with something like burpees, for example, if you're still going with your burpees at sort of 50, 55 seconds and you're not getting as many reps as you want, I would still just cut it off and have a rest, just to maintain an element of rest going from one section to the other. The burpees will probably be the big thing that get you out of breath when you're doing this, and everything else is relatively strength oriented. So your single arm overhead lunges, that's going to be you set up with a weight above your head and you're going to be stepping into your lunge. And they can either be forward lunge like that, or you can step back into your lunge like that. Remember, with it being 12 to 20 on each side, you'll hold the dumbbell on one side and you'll do 1, 2, and so on, 6 on that side. Then you'll swap hands and you'll do 6 with the dumbbell on this side as well. Going into the tuck-ups, we're just looking to try and get you as high up into that top position as we can. So starting in your hollow body position and pulling you right up and trying to squeeze into that top position and then back out to your hollow body. If you want, you could start resting on the floor and then up into there, or you could scale it back to a sit-up where it's basically the same movement. And again, we're trying to really tuck through here and get your thighs and your stomach as close together as you can. Whether you're doing that as a sit-up or as a tuck-up, we're trying to close that gap as you come up. The burpees, really nice and simple. Just remember we want chest and hips to the floor at the bottom. So I'm getting right down into that bottom position, chest and hips to the floor, and then that jump and hands touch overhead at the top. So just keep to good standards on them, and like I say, work the number of reps to how long it's taking you. If you think you're going to be a bit slow, just do slightly less reps, just to try and sort of moderate the pace of everything. Your single arm rows, ideally you're going to be set up in a split position like this, and you're just pulling up into that top position and back out. And remember, that's 6 to 10 on each side. With the hold, in the 5th minute here, you've got 30 seconds. Try and make sure wherever you set up, you can see your timer somehow. It might be a watch or a phone or whatever it is. You want to be able to make sure that you know when 30 seconds is up on them. Choose a scaling option on them that you can definitely do 30 seconds of. So don't do something harder and only hold it for 20. Ideally do something where it's a really appropriate difficulty and try and hold it for 30. So your front leaning rest could simply be set up like this, where it looks like the top of your press up position. If you want to make it harder, we could start to shift your weight forward over your shoulders and your hands, like that. And obviously the further forward you put your weight, the more weight you put into your hands, the harder that's going to be. If you've got space in your hands or wherever you're doing your session, you could also go into a handstand hold. So that could be facing the wall, it could be facing away from the wall. And again, if you're in those positions, think about nice straight arms, push the floor away from you and try and keep everything tight through there. Okay, so you've got a range of options there, but it needs to be something you can do for 30 seconds. And the main overall message in terms of choosing scaling options is, yes, we want it to be challenging, but ultimately you've only got a minute to do each section there. So make sure that you can get it done in that time, and ideally with a little bit of rest as well. In terms of a warm-up, I've just written that out there. So the idea would be that you go through this part, that gets you ready, and then you have a go at some of the exercises that are in the workout afterwards. So you kind of combine one and the other, so you're not just going straight from that in. Initially, it's just lunges and walkouts. They can be forward lunges like that. There could be backwards lunges as well, whatever you fancy, just get the legs working. And the walkouts, I'm just looking for you to straighten your legs into your front leaning rest and then back up with legs straight. Do a couple of times do that. The overhead split squat is to practice for the lunges. So the idea there is that you set up with your feet in a split position. You can either do this with or without your weight. If you do it with your weight, it'll be single arm over your head, and we're trying to go down and back to standing. And it's to give you a chance to practice that idea of being upright, being in that vertical position where the weight is right above you, and it stays above you down to the floor, so it's not going in front of you at all. If you struggle with them in the warm-up, you're probably going to struggle with the overhead lunges. So if you need to change them or adapt them at all, you could always do them so you've got the weight in your front rack instead. And that would be the same principle. The split squat would be like that, and the lunge would be stepping into it like that. So you've got those split squats to have a play with. Next section is there to warm the core up a little bit. I've written some abbreviations in there, but essentially you're going to set up in your front leaning rest, nice and strong through here. You're going to do 5 reps to each side, touching your knee to your opposite elbow, and then you're going to do 5 reps to each side, touching your hand to your opposite shoulder. And throughout all of that, you're going to be in a really nice solid support position. And then the last part is 10 seconds actually in your front leaning rest, thinking about engaging your core, nice strong straight arms, and trying to keep the weight forward over your hands. Hopefully once you've done that, your abs and your shoulders will feel fairly warm. And then the last part, the reverse flies, is just to get the upper back muscles working a bit for the rows. So you'll set up like this, arms will come out, you'll squeeze your shoulders together, and then you'll control back down to the middle. Once you've done the flies, then like I said, have a go at the exercises that are actually in the workout, and just make sure you know what sort of scaling options you want to use. Is my weight appropriate? How many reps should I be aiming for, etc. As always, if you need any more specific feedback, any more specific advice than what I've given in the video today, then please get in touch with me or one of the other coaches, and hopefully we can help you out with that. But otherwise, enjoy. I'll see you next week.